In this video, we'll learn the terms work, energy, and power. Are the three terms different, or is there some kind of similarity? So, in order to understand this, let's consider a scenario. I give a work to my loyal student, Bala Guru Swami Lingam. The name is too big, so let me call him Bitu. I ask Bitu to move the table from section A to section D. And all of a sudden, I had a call to attend a meeting. So I say, Bitu, please move the table from section A to D, and after doing that work, you can go home. So I have technically assigned a work to Bitu. Then I go attend a meeting and come back. So now, how do I find that whether Bitu has done the work or not? Thinking about it? Just take a second and think about it. I hope you would have thought, okay, what you would have done is go to section A and see whether the table is there or not. What if the table is there in section A? What do you say about Bitu? Has he completed the work which I have given him? No, right? If you see the table in A, that means the table has to be moved to D. The work has not been done. And scenario 2, the table could have been moved to D section. So when you go to A, you see no table, and you go to D and you find a table there. That means Bitu has done the work. So in order to do this work, what should Bitu do? Okay, think about it. Bitu has to go to section A and try to push the table. So what is he doing technically? He is applying a force on the table, and the table moves to section D, right? So the table has moved a distance. So what can we say about work? So Bitu has applied force, and the table has to move a distance D in order to say that the Bitu has done work. It makes sense. So technically, work is equal to force times distance. So what could be its unit? Have a guess. So the unit of force is Newton, and the unit of distance is meters. So the unit of work is Newton meter. That is force into distance, Newton meter. You get the unit of work. Okay, let's consider this case also. If the table was bolted to the floor and Bitu, my loyal student, wants to do the work, but he would have applied so much of force in pushing the table, but the table would have not moved because Bitu doesn't know that the table is bolted to the floor. And Bitu goes away. He is so tired and he goes home. Now, has he completed work? No, right? The work was to move the table from A to D. Even though Bitu applied tremendous amount of force, but the distance was 0. So the product of enormous force into distance 0 is 0. So work done is technically 0 by Bitu, even though if we have applied a force. So from this case study, what we learn is, in order to do work, you need to do two things. You need to apply force, and it has to move a distance. So that is what work is all about. Now let's talk about what energy is, right? So energy, so you're speaking with energy. Is that energy? You can say, but in terms of mechanics, let's consider this now. I asked Bala Guru Swami, forget it, I asked Bitu to go to the gym and lift some weight. Okay, so technically in lifting weight, what should Bitu do? Bitu should apply a force, and the weight has moved a distance, right? So Bitu is actually doing work in gym. People are doing work out, right? People are doing work in gym. So I challenge Bitu. And now I put Bitu in a room and lock him for 5 days. No food, no water. Now I call back Bitu and I challenge Bitu that if you do work, that is, lift this heavy weight above your head, I will buy him a motorcycle. So Bitu is so excited, even though he is tired, has not have any food. He tries to lift it. But he is not able to lift it. Why? Bitu has not eaten any food. That is, Bitu has not got energy. The food gets converted to energy and stores in the body, right? So Bitu don't have energy. So what do you understand? Is there any similarity between work and energy? Think about it. What gets converted to work? Energy, right? The food you eat gets stored in your body. Sometimes if you eat too much, it could be stored as fat also. And people really do work out in gym in order to get rid of that stored energy. How crazy it is, right? So energy and work, there is a relation. And the unit of energy is also same as the unit of work. So we have learnt what is the unit of work. So work is nothing but force into distance. Its unit is Newton times meter. Unit is Newton meter. Then energy is also the same unit, Newton meter, right? So energy is a stored form of work. If you have energy, you can do work. Is that correct? If you don't eat, you don't have energy, you won't be able to lift it. So energy is a stored form of work. Think about it. I compress a spring. So what am I doing? Actually, I am doing a work on the spring. So how are you doing work, sir? I have to apply force in order to compress a spring, and the spring gets compressed by some distance. So technically I'm doing work. I'm applying force and it moves a distance. So force times distance is work, right? So now after I leave, what happens to the spring? The spring bounces back to its original position. That is, how come that come? Spring does work? Where did the work, how did the spring do work? Spring didn't do work by itself. Spring stored the work which I did first. Okay, so what does spring do? Spring absorbs energy and stores my work as energy. When I leave it, it does work back again. Same thing as your rubber band, right? So now we understand the term energy and work better. There is a relationship between energy and work. Both have same units. They are interchangeable, right? They are interchangeable. Now let's talk about power. So what is power, sir? Now we understand what work is. Force and distance, you need to have those two terms in order to get work. So energy is also same. Stored form of work is energy. You have different types of energy: kinetic energy, potential energy, all have the same units. Okay, now what is power, sir? Okay, now also let's go to the gym. And you see two people. One is really struggling to lift weight, and another guy just does it so simple, man. So what can you conclude from this? Power is the ability to do work. Okay, so it is work divided by time. Okay, so in gym what they are doing? Actually they are doing work because they are applying force and the weight moves some distance. So how fast is be able to do work is power. So if you find work, you divide it by total time and you will get the power. Okay, so then what should be the unit of power? It should be Newton meter per second. You are dividing work by time. So thank you. I hope that in this video you would have cleared out the small concepts. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye.